MetalNRG is the natural resources and energy investment company. It's main listed, where it has a market cap of £2 million. Well, it's updated investors about an exclusive agreement to source debt for waste to energy projects. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by the Chief Executive, Rolf Gerritsen. So, Rolf, you have a partnership with investment banking firm Advicorp to source up to a £40 million debt facility. So how confident are you? How confident are they that this can be sourced, and on what terms?
Hello, Sarah. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. All things considered.
Good. Look, the announcement today is really part of the process, and it's a stepping stone towards building up an infrastructure investment portfolio in waste energy projects. We announced about a year ago the business development partnership with EQTEC, and EQTEC has a portfolio of qualified pipeline projects that are ready to invest, and we've categorized those in different tiers. On the back of the work that we've done with EQTEC in identifying those projects, putting the financial cases together for those projects, and doing in some cases the financial close, and in others the tier 2 that I refer to, not doing the financial close, so therefore a later stage, we went and engaged in a conversation with Advicorp. Advicorp's background is M&A boutique. They've had some of their investors invest in other waste energy plants, and therefore they're quite confident, based on the project portfolio that they've seen, that the projects that we have in partnership with EQTEC are actually debt ready. And what I mean by debt ready, they tick all the boxes to be applied, or debt to be applied to them. And I think that's critical. That's an absolute must. If you don't have that, then you can't even consider talking about debt with potential investors. So the projects are de-risked, and they meet that criteria. The second point is that Advicorp in the past have had previous experiences in this sector, in this area, and have raised money and have a number of interested investors that are looking at developing this area. So extremely confident that it is manageable, it is doable. In terms of the terms, those will be determined on a project by project basis, and it's a bit premature to talk about the terms. But as I also said previously, my intention, or MetalNRG's intention, is to take projects, secure the recommissioning of those projects, put them on a stable footing in terms of revenue and profitability, and then ideally package them and sell them on to a pension fund, a life insurance company that are interested in sustainable, predictable revenue streams.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed for giving us the provenance of Advicorp, because I hadn't heard about them, but now I feel far more enlightened. So in terms of the debt-ready projects, are these for current projects or in the pipeline activities?
There's basically a pipeline of, let's say, in the RNS reach, I said there's 2 classifications that we've put the pipeline through. Tier 1 are projects that have gone through financial close. They meet all the criteria to have debt applied to them right now. And there's probably about 6 or 8 of those that we're working on. We've got something in Italy, we've got a few in Croatia, in Greece, and France. And so there's a nice portfolio, and there's probably about 8.5 megawatts of power that can be produced from those various projects. So that's the tier 1, and they're, as I said, ready to go. And then the tier 2 are going to be going through financial close this year, and they will be ready for debt investment next year.
Okay, understood. And when the debt has been applied, the bit that stood out for me in the RNS was these words: these projects are expected to deliver revenues within 6 to 18 months of funding. That's quite a promise, Rolf.
Well, it's again looking at the type of projects that we've identified. So, for example, the project that we've invested in and we own 26.6% of in Italy is a waste energy project, which was previously operating, but the mother house of the company that owned this particular plant went into administration. So we bought the plants from back out of administration alongside EQTEC, and what we're doing is we're recommissioning that plant. We're increasing the flexibility of the input, so the wood chips that are going in, we're increasing the flexibility and the type of input to create the energy. But the plant is there, nothing needs to be built, it needs to be recommissioned. So there's an upgrading process. So that's much more rapid. And the second portion of it is that we already have we are hooked into the main grid in Italy, and we've done so on premium tariffs, which we've inherited from the project that we bought out of administration. So the kind of projects that we're looking at investing in the first instance here are very much those that I refer to as shovel ready. So we're not going out and saying, let's buy a piece of land, let's go and get the permits, let's design the plan, let's go and order the pieces and get the whole thing up and running, and then let's go and sell the energy. What we're doing is we're actually saying, well, hang on, there's a lot of plants out there that haven't necessarily met the criteria that we're supposed to meet at the beginning. And by recommissioning and redeveloping those in certain aspects, we're able to bring them back into production at a very accelerated pace. And that's our tier 1 projects. Those are the ones that are readily available, ready to go, and it's a plug in, plug out.
Okay, today is Wednesday, March the 9th. And I'm just wondering about the timing of today's announcement. I'm wondering whether it was expedited by what's happening in the Ukraine and the fact that alternative, sustainable energy is now at the forefront of the global political agenda.
Was it opportunistic in terms of making an announcement today? No. This is something that EQTEC and ourselves have been working on since March 2021. We made our first investment in Italy, which was announced. We are extremely focused on this particular area because if you go back to Scotland and COP and the declarations that were made by numerous countries that are heading towards net zero, this is something that's been in development for quite a while. So it's as I said, it's a process we're going through. This is the next step in the process, and timing, it was what it was, full stop. It wasn't opportunistic. It wasn't because of what's going on in the world. Having said that, what is unfortunately going on in the world is putting a spotlight on oil and gas prices. So the transition towards green is reinforced by what's going on as opposed to it being reconsidered. And I think that just helps with the process that every country needs to go through and most countries are going through. The other aspect here, Sarah, if I may very briefly, is that what we're doing here is we're taking waste and we're producing energy. And waste is a problem which is not going away. In fact, if you look at statistics, there are numbers that are telling us that waste will increase by 70%. And the problem with waste is more and more countries are not allowing landfill, more and more countries are not allowing incineration. You need to find alternatives for this. So the solution is a very neat solution. It's a very green solution, and it's also a proven and tested methodology and technology that is being applied. So again, it's steps in the process. We're going through the development of our company, and we are sticking to our path. Timing was not chosen. It was, we got to this point, therefore we are in a position to announce.
But oil and gas still have their place, particularly as if the taps are being turned off from Russia. Last year there was a lot of attention about MetalNRG's interest in the 6 oil and gas licenses in Lincolnshire through the Brit Energy venture managed by Pier Paolo Rocco. However, the pair of you have fallen out. So is this project in jeopardy?
The project is not in jeopardy because it's an existing project. We're still a substantial minority investor in the project, so we have an economic interest in the project. The fact that Rocco and I have fallen out, well, that will come to a head one way or the other. And there's more than enough information in the public domain that has brought people up to speed and up to date. Stepping back a little bit and talking about the bigger picture in terms of oil and gas, oil and gas is not going away, and I've always said that. I always have seen it in the short term as an opportunity. And in fact, if you look at some of the large public companies have actually sold not a number of fields. But where's the money coming in to go into those fields? Well, it's mostly coming from private equity. And that means that these oil companies are tending to move towards private ownership where they don't have the such governance requirements and such external eyes looking at them, that they can do a little bit more. And if you look at the deal flow that the private equity companies have done on oil and gas over the last few months and even the last year, it's enormous, the kind of money that's gone into it. So oil, in my opinion, is not going away until we're able to transist. Now, what is changing is the balance of a country's energy solution. And I think most countries, and especially in Europe, are going to try to rely less on oil and less on gas and move more towards solar, move more towards wind farms, and also the waste energy plants are extremely interesting. So I think it comes as an overall package. Sorry, Sarah.
That's okay. Let's go from packages to paranoia, where placings are concerned. It's my final question to you, Rolf. Are you confident that the business will become self-sufficient and generate enough cash and revenue to avoid fundraising?
Look, we're on a path. We are at the moment, 2 million market cap, if I'm not mistaken. So we've gone backwards, but the fundamentals in terms of market cap, we've gone backwards. In terms of the fundamentals of the business, I think we have a very interesting package and a very interesting proposition. And we have a very clear strategy that we're working towards. And that strategy is to become what I have referred to in previous instances as a grown-up company that stands on its own 2 feet. It's going to take a bit of time to get there. Having said that, we're looking at these projects in partnership with EQTEC to accelerate that process as much as we possibly can. We've got Goldridge, which we thought we were going to go after some revenues very quickly, but based on technical advice from the geologists there, they said, look, if you do that, you're going to maybe not allow yourself to look at and extrapolate the whole value of what you might be sitting on, which is apparently greater than we had originally anticipated. So therefore, we've taken a little step backwards. And then we've got the situation in the Ukraine, which is a uranium project, which is ready to go. But I think in today's environment, that's going to be a bit risky as well. But again, Kyrgyzstan 2 years ago decided to to switch off any exploitation of uranium, and that's still the case. So that's a very much parked project. So to answer your question, there are no intentions at the moment to go cap in hand, but I've also, or I believe to be wise enough to not say never, because you never know. That I will say, you never know. But there's no immediate intentions to go out to raise money at the moment via placement.
And we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Rolf Gerritsen, Chief Executive of MetalNRG. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you.